Josh and I are back. Ben's here. He's in his RV traveling to Ledgestone. And Josh, what episode is this? 254.
No, not yet. 248. 248.
See what happens? Almost. We leave for a week and I jump 10 episodes ahead. 248. This episode is presented by, as it has been all season, thank you so much, TitanDiscGolf.com came in huge with the support for our show. We were sold on them as a brand and a business when we looked at their disc selection, and I was just drawn in by, hey, I want that disc, and they had every disc and unique discs that I couldn't find anywhere else. And I'd be like, wow, I really want that disc specifically. And they do that for 35,000 discs. Competitive pricing doesn't mean $2 a disc. It just means everybody else. It's like, is it true? Like in Massachusetts and others, like there's limits for how much you can charge for like cigarettes or something, right? Like you can't charge, there's a certain limit. You can't go to like, oh, lowest the state allows kind of thing. That's all I'm trying to say. Like if I see it in New Hampshire or whatever, I'm not a smoker, but I'll see that stuff and it stands out to me and I'm like, I guess they can't sell it for less. Anyways, we've hit the rock bottom with TitanDiscGolf.com. They're doing what they can for everybody and free shipping over $75. I've said this before. I'll say it again. Matt Schlabach is like my look into the Europe trip. The dude is just dropping social media on his stories like crazy. He's got the Meta Ray-Bans and like he's in Chengdu, China for the World Games, which we'll talk a little bit about. And he was obviously in Finland for the World Championships. All that is great. So anyways, he's part owner there. TitanDiscGolf.com. Definitely check him out. Again, we can't say enough. Josh and I are wearing their hats tonight. It's our hat, man. We love it. All right, Ben, we weren't here last week. It was you and Nick holding down the podcast, and I have a feeling we will come back to some leftovers for Worlds, so you'll have to kind of fill us in on, because I was trying to catch up on it today, but you have to fill us in on, like, do you want our takes on something or not? Like, did you just exhaust it all? But we'll come back to that. We have Nate Heinold lined up for tonight, which I think it'll get us the views. Hate him or love him. I don't know which way you guys listening feel about it. Some of you are like, yes. And some of you are like, yeehaw, let's go. Whatever it is, we're going to ask some questions about Ledgestone. We'll see. We'll see what's going on with that. The biggest, arguably one of the biggest, if the biggest disc golf event by participation. All right. And then besides that, we just had an Elite Series event just wrap up as well. The Turku. I remember it was not Turku. It's Turku. You say Turku.
I think Nick said the Turkish Open. Is that right, Ben?
Nick said what?
He said the Turkish Open.
Oh, yeah, he did say the Turkish Open. The Turkish Open.
I also, and I shouldn't call him out because I've said a lot of things that I wish I could take back, but he called Ida Lida.
Lida.
And I get it because the first time I saw the name, I'm like, is that a double I-L? What is it? But like, anyways, we're going to make our mistakes tonight, but that's what I mean. There's probably still a little bit of Worlds recap leftovers. So there's a lot to talk about tonight, plus the interview, plus our picks, plus Pop Drop Lock. Reminder, Simon Lizotte round at Maple Hill is on the line, and so much more. Paul Macbeth Foundation hit us up. The fandom survey hit us up. Everyone has things they want to communicate. We're going to pass it along. With all that being said, we're 6 minutes in. I think we started a minute late, so we're probably 5 minutes in. Josh, where are we going?
Hey, yeah. Matt, you and I think we were camping last week. Ben, you were as well, but you were able to jump on the show.
Yes.
And at one point, so Matt and I are away at a family campground, which means there's programming, there's activities, a lot of downtime. And Matt and I were sitting at a picnic table at some point, and we just start talking disc golf. And I'm like, we should have recorded, like just hit record.
Not
like
live, but we could hit record, yeah.
Yeah. But with that being said, Matt and I have not been able to react to Worlds, which is the biggest event of the year, in my opinion, at least. Ben, I did listen to most of the show that you and Nick put on, so thanks for hopping on and doing that. But yeah, I just wanted to like run down the things. So Ganon Buhr MPO winner. Matt, I think you and I reacted. Ben, curious your take. For him, at this young age, that felt like the last thing that he felt like he had to get under his belt. Now,
Yep.
there's so many goals left. I've already heard him talking about some of them. So a long career ahead of him. So he's not done, but it's kind of like here's my question. With the relief or the release of the pressure of getting that first Worlds, does Ganon Buhr play more free, more relaxed, and does this like make him better, or does his drive change? In other words, what's the impact on his career now that he gets this first one?
I don't know. I think he's just that good. I think everything stays the same. I don't think he works hard enough. He's good enough. He's done everything. I don't see him slipping, like where it's like, oh, okay, I don't feel like doing as much. So personally, I think it's so funny because I FaceTimed Ganon after he won Worlds that day, and it was just so casual. It was just like no big deal. And I think he told me he was like, yeah, it doesn't feel any different. I'm just glad I won. So that's kind of like his mentality right now, which is great as an athlete, because it's like, what else do you expect? I won. Like, that's what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. So I think he's going to keep on excelling and keep winning in dominant fashion just because of his skill and his
I agree.
mental game.
I agree. I think almost the other way, though, in a sense of like, in my agreement of, I don't think this is going to change anything for him as far as his drive, his competition, his ability to win, the amount of times he wins. I don't think any of that changes. And I don't think I was seeing it the way Ben was just saying with like, he's not going to slip because he's going to find casual like with his victories. I think it's actually kind of just going to make his life feel lighter, if you will. Like, it's not going to be the disc golf game doesn't really change, but you could say the result of a lighter life, meaning like this weight of like, am I ever going to get Worlds, that being gone, I think it's just going to make him feel better just in general. I think his winning will just keep happening. I mean, 2 seasons ago, 10 plus or however many wins it was, this season, he's already leading definitely for player of the year at this point, for sure. I mean, you have the Worlds plus the wins he has 4 wins now. So I think it's just going to impact him as a person, which, yes, as a result, I think could be better. Could it go the other way, Ben? It could. I just don't see that in him at this young age, being like, okay, now I'm just going to fall off now. I don't see that happening either.
Yeah, I'm similar to maybe what you're both saying, but yeah, it's got to be freeing. Here's the thing. In interviews up to this point, if you asked him like what he wanted to accomplish, it was all about Worlds. I think last year's Worlds, 2024, really frustrated him. He talked about how he approached it different this year. And I think you could actually see that. And I think like that's just evidence of continuing to learn. And now that it's like, okay, I got that off my back. Yeah, totally different, because going and winning a second Worlds is probably a lot of pressure, but it's different because Ganon had already won majors and so many elite series that it was kind of like that was the thing that was missing. Now, what interviewer is going to ask him like, what's missing? There's not something missing. It's now like, what are you going to go get next? So
he has the career Grand Slam. Actually, no, he doesn't. He doesn't have European Disc Golf Festival. That's what he has to chase.
It still doesn't feel like a major as far as like legacy goes. It feels like a big event. Like they hype it and they make it huge and everyone talks about it, but like it doesn't feel like a legacy major. So it's not like
he hasn't won Champs Cup. I don't know why I said career Grand Slam.
You're just in your head, dude. You're dreaming at night. You're like, he's done it. He's done it.
Well, yeah, he's won like all the big ones: USDC, Worlds, European Open,
the
and
biggest,
then the new ones. He hasn't
arguably
won.
those are the biggest. So, congrats to him. You've already broke it down. Some people may be interested in our reactions or not, Josh. But with Ida, Letamaki, and Owen Scoggins, if you watched how that played out, I know you said you woke up early. I woke up in the middle of the night and I followed for a while. I ended up watching it in replay without having a spoiler. So it unfolded to me with that same excitement. But just a general quick reaction on that, because I know Ben's already broke that out with Nick. What do you think?
Yeah, you're asking me what I think about
FPO
like the
Worlds.
way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, There's so many things that happened. Who's picking Owen to win? Who's picking Ida Lehtmäki in a playoff? And who's picking Kristen to not finish? Who's like not saying Holland Hanley's going to be in the discussion? Missy Gannon not in the discussion. And then Ella Hansen throwing all-time best to be one stroke off. So if you just say all that going in, everybody's like, what? Like Kristen didn't finish. Was she sick? And then you say, okay, yeah. And then Evelina and Henna are going to outthrow the field by, whatever the numbers are. I'm making this up, 30 strokes, but mess up on putting. You're probably going to buy that storyline. But everything else. So it's just like, it was so dynamic. And you see it from the end. Like, first of all, I've used this word before. There's probably no real difference, but I'm like, I'm not shocked that Owen could win Worlds, but I am surprised. And I don't, what's the difference between those two words? It's subtle. But like, because she's won events before, right? And so it's like, we know she can do it. But even herself, now I'm forgetting the numbers. It's been 2 weeks. She said something like, I was just hoping to be in the top 15 or the top 10 or whatever. And that's how she was going to play. And she would have been happy with that performance. But then she goes and does what she's already so good at, but probably even beyond her own expectations, and putts lights out. She had a great putting tournament, but that final round was insane.
Yeah, what was she from C2? It was something insane.
I don't have
to
the
say it was
stats
like
in front of me.
60% or something. Like it was high.
From C2.
So, Josh,
and C1 putts were like 30 feet.
Yeah.
Right, like 9 meters. Like,
so you set up.
It was,
you gave us all those great storylines that we wouldn't have picked. And so much so that even coming into that event and then seeing Owen start to play like she was playing, even down to the last round, you're like, oh, like Owen. Literally, besides her Masters Worlds, I would go back in our episodes and count how many times we said Owen Scoggins this year. Like, I think the numbers are very low. Previous years, pretty high.
Right, yeah.
Like,
this
we're
year
picking
felt
her
a
to
little bit
win
quieter,
almost regularly, lock regularly. I'd be interested to go back and have Dave Schreck pull up, like, or Josh, you could probably do it too, but like, how many picks for Owen in lock this year compared to last year? Like, we don't talk about her, and then she comes out and does this.
I don't think anyone locked her.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a fluke. To your point, Josh, that would be a shock. Like, who is this person? But it is surprising. It's surprising.
Well, here, I'll go and say this hot take. Hot take.
All right.
It's not a fluke, but like, if disc golf was more heavily analyzed and there was like someone could calculate percentages of Owen Scoggins winning at like maybe after round 3 or round 4, it would have been like 0.000, or I don't know, like obviously it probably would have been less than 1% or around 1%. It's just people had to throw it away for her to win, and they did, and she had to step up. So she had to hit all those putts, and people had to throw away. It was like the odds of her winning Worlds
is like the Patriots beating the Falcons in the Super Bowl.
Yes, 28-3 in the third quarter. It's like,
people weren't shocked. No, they were shocked. Never mind. But it was like that moment of, you're right. Other people had to make mistakes, and you had to show up, and it was just the right time and right place for her to do a record, a world record, never having been done before in the same season, Masters and Pro.
I also don't know why I said hot take, because I just stated facts, but there you go.
That's very hot. Yeah, well, in many ways, the field had to fall back to her. But Matt, like you said, what's important here is it didn't just fall back to her. She then had to go and take it. And that's when it gets exciting, right? It's like,
that's
of course,
crazy.
Of course, the circumstances around you have to unfold that way, right? If Ida has an 8 or 9 stroke lead heading into the final round and pushes away, then Owen can't do anything about that, right? So yes, things have to fall around you, but then to go out and putt that way, when the pressure's on, that's what makes it be like,
from
okay,
C2,
so the opposite is there,
like, it's
and you
still
went and
amazing.
it.
So
it was incredible.
People will not like me bringing this up, but I'm going to bring up like all the things that went into this as well. You already mentioned. So people had to throw it away. Some of it was by just skill, like putting poorly. Hannah showed that. Yeah. Evelina ended up showing that. And then you had Missy Gannon throwing herself out of contention realistically in the first round. So you have these 3 players who are like, we're not going to give our best this week. And I don't mean like that's their intention or they went into it that way, but that's what happened. And then you have the world's best. Arguably, now there's a conversation to be had, at least I think so. What does this do for somebody's career long-term? we can hope the best, but we analyze this stuff. What happens? But Kristen pulls out. So now you have arguably the world's best out, Missy Gannon, who's in that contention usually. Then you have these two others who are Finland, one's, the natives of this area. And it all goes, it's a storyline for the ages, but it's not to take away from Owen. It's to say, again, this story was being written and Owen said, I'm going to take it. It's not a bad performance by Owen. It's a great performance, but that's everything that came together for this to happen makes a great story for Owen. And then you can't leave Ida out of it. That's an interesting conversation. Josh, your quick take. I don't care what you think they were discussing or if they should lay up or if they should go for it. What is your play as a fan? And if you were in that position, what would you do?
I mean, I assume you're talking about what? Yeah, she ended up laying up. Yeah, she laid up. I mean, I think you have to go for it. And so therefore I think it's the wrong decision from my perspective. I can tolerate and understand the justification that I've heard since then, but it's still, but I would still come down on the other side of that. Like I just keep racking it in my head and I'm like, the risk reward, like just that equation is like you go for that putt. And if you want to not do a traditional putt and you want to throw it soft and hopefully it just fades in, like there's all different ways you can go for it. But like just laying it up just doesn't.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like she could have at least put it up in the air. And like, even if it was a 1 out of 20 chance, like she didn't give herself that chance.
You, Ben, do it. Josh would do it. I would do it. She would not do it. And I think for her, I think she made the right decision. And I'm not saying that to be like, I'm going to support the person. I think for her, because as a player, if I step up to a putt at any given time, and I remember pros teaching on this, and you don't believe that you're going to make it, then you need to lay up. So we could say, well, she needs to, at this point in her career, at 15 years old, believe that she's going to make it when all day maybe she didn't feel that way. That's a way harder hill to climb than you think. Just trick yourself like I'm going to make it. So it's really mental game is, 110% of putting. So anyways, that was epic. It was kind of confusing, right? Like there's obviously other storylines, but we're not here to break it all down again. Other shows did that. But it was kind of confusing to watch. It was kind of confusing to watch in that moment. I was
about to say real quick to talk about the confusion. I text you guys. Ida lays up. Yeah. Owen makes a putt, starts celebrating. I'm like, why is she celebrating that they're going to a playoff?
Too, yeah. So
because I thought she laid up to go to a playoff. But that's
again,
why.
Not to break it all down, but I even remember in the live commentary there was a moment where I was confused. Someone, I think it was Juliana, even might have said something that stood out to me as like, I don't think that's right.
Right.
So
which, by the way, that's evidence that everybody knows she should have gone for it because as soon as she laid up, everybody's like, oh, maybe I don't know the scores, even subliminally, right? Because it's like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it confused me.
Now, I understand your point. Like, sure, that may have been the right thing for her, but that's still the wrong thing. Like, she's got to figure out how to make it so that's not the situation, right? Where you've got to go for that. But by the way, don't throw out of bounds on the upshot.
Regardless,
we gotta move past this because the Worlds has already taken place and other shows have talked. People may have heard it from Ben and Nick. I agree. That shot was just reminiscent in a lot of ways of Paige Pierce in Ogden, Utah, at Worlds with the documentary crew filming it. And all you have to do, and I hate to say it, all you have to do is just lay up in a pretty academic way. It didn't happen. So that's a bummer. I found myself joining the fandom of Ida throughout the tournament. I'll tell you from round 1, 2, I was like, rather not somebody who I don't know come out and just win it. It feels kind of like fluky. Like, who is this person? Then it started building in me and like just rooting. And then like the whole comeback from that super, hole 16 and the next day to birdie it. And I'm going, all right, there's a cool story here. So anyways, that's my take. You can wrap it up.
What happens with Ida now? Like, I don't know enough about her.
She played well at Turku.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, exactly. She wasn't really in the discussion to win, I don't believe. But this is kind of an open question, and maybe I should know as a podcast host, but she's young. Do we know what her plans are? Like, I mean, showing up like that is crazy. Matt, I shared with you a little bit. I'm like, of course, everybody would say it would have been great for her to win. But I actually wonder if there's like a flip side to that coin of being 15 and being like the national champion. Could that have just been so overwhelming that it would have like ratcheted it up, like so much demand as a 15-year-old that I wonder if, like, not the way you would want it to happen, but if it could end up being a positive for her to, get a taste of it, but not come with all the crazy, insane, like, pressure of being a world champ, and more of a steady climb to the top of disc golf. But I just don't know. I don't know, like, are we going to see her on tour in coming years? Like, all of those types of questions I have, which we'll have to figure out.
Her rating is high enough to probably place top 10 at most pro tour events, which just tells you something about it. I mean, yeah. I don't know, Josh, what the long term will be, but I would agree. And my final takeaway is it seemed like in both her social media response and her reaction on the course, with just the humility, the excitement for Owen, the excitement. Here's what I'm going to say. The excitement for her second place finish. It almost seemed like to her, that was the biggest accomplishment she could have ever dreamed of. If someone said he can go and get second,
of course it would in a playoff.
What I'm trying to say is, like, for her, I think it felt satisfactory and not like a loss. Like, it felt like this was all like bonus. Once I make it to a playoff, it doesn't matter what happens. Like, I've made it. So I can't put words in her mouth, but that's kind of a little bit of my takeaway. And I think she's excited, which just tells you there's so much opportunity for her going forward. So much.
It'll be cool to watch, and it's so fun to see somebody like Owen with her personality playing with Ida's personality, and kind of, it was just kind of, it was really, really awesome.
It's honestly, I said this last podcast, but it's phenomenal that Owen Scoggins is disc golf's world champion.
It's crazy. It's like hasn't settled.
It's unbelievable.
Matt, I know we're 2 weeks in and other people talked about it, but we haven't, and it's still settling for me.
No, people, like I said, I don't know. We'd have to have a little voting bar here. Do people like hearing us talk about it? Because we haven't talked about it yet. Like Josh and Matt haven't, Ben and Nick have. But.
It's like, comparably, it's like Kayla Viska winning Worlds right now, I think.
Yeah, which would be crazy.
Or even like, true. Or like, I don't know, Matty O, is he in that generation yet? He's got to be. It'd be like, similar.
yeah. Any of
but I'm saying, but Matty O's like, you're like, I guess I'm not saying, like, obviously Owen comparatively.
Owen's been winning elite events the last few years.
Owen is way better than Kale if you were like
comparing wins,
like career stats.
Yes, if comparing stats. But I'm just saying, like game wise, and age wise,
true. Right. Not standing out the highest in any stat, like throwing far, but like exactly. It's just well rounded.
So we're almost done with Worlds, but there are just a few other things. So hole 16. Ganon Buhr has been fairly vocal that he doesn't like the way it plays. When I say plays, meaning the current rules and the way it penalized. Do we?
He flips a little
Ganon?
bit though. I've heard his interview. I think it was Ulti World had him on, and I was listening. I'm camping and I'm listening, and I find that interesting because Ganon and I can chat about this when he comes through. I don't feel like it's, I don't feel like he's been so busy. I'm not reaching out to him at all, and it doesn't matter what my take is with him individually either. But he says something like, I don't like it. Like, one hole can kind of, I don't want to say ruin, but I think that's the words kind of he was using, like ruin somebody's round. And then he's like, on the flip side, he's like, but I get it. Like, it's a hole that you can execute and you can do it. And frankly, my opinion is that it might make it play as a bad hole, but you can lay up to the shorter spot 130 feet away and play that spot. You don't have to throw for the birdie. So all that to me tells me that players, they could have came in with a different game plan. And I forget who it was that said their game plan. I think it was last year, Corey Ellis said, my game plan is to never go for it on the second shot. No, and I know it's different rules last year, but my point is, like, people can make those decisions. And I don't want to say that I don't know. In hindsight, it would have been the right decision for someone like Ida. If she knows what she knows, of course she's going to say, I'll throw up to there. But in that moment, she made the decision that she did, and she probably felt comfortable making it. All that to be said, anybody who's saying that hole is too punishing, in my opinion, is leaving out the fact that people are trying to play it from the hardest spot. You don't have to do that. In fact, it'd be interesting statistically, and I'm not saying that we can do this, but have everybody go into it and say, do not go for it on the second shot. I want everybody to go through this round to play for the layup zone and then to the basket. And now let's see what it was to par. Let's see what the average was to par, right? You might not have birdies unless people throw it in, but I don't think you're going to have that huge swing high, and it's not going to ruin people's round if you go for the par. So part of me says it's a mental strategy, a actual strategy issue for some people. That's what it tells me.
Yeah. And so why I have an answer to this. Why did they go for it?
Because because in the sport today, to win an event, I'm of the impression, and I think most players would say this, that you have to go for everything nowadays. Almost every putt, no matter you have to be very smart and strategic when you do and don't go for them. But in general, you have to go for the big plays to win. You're going to come up short if you don't go for the big plays. That's how I would see it. Now, in hindsight, you look at it now, Ida would have won by, probably would have been like 15 strokes.
I feel like she should have.
That's a time.
Yeah, she should have laid up.
No, she was winning by 12 at that point, Ben.
That's what I'm saying. Whatever. I think it was just bad game planning.
Exactly. I don't think it's a round ruiner by the hole's design.
You try and take a bogey on that hole if you're winning that much.
It's not a round ruiner by the course's design, is all my point is. Now, we can argue, do we like it? Because then it makes that hole play poorly if you say, well, don't go for the birdie. Well, then it is a kind of a boring hole at that point. So I'm not going to say it makes it a good hole. So I can see both sides of it in that sense, but I don't think it's a round ruiner because the hole plays poorly. That's all I would say. Yeah. I would be okay with it going either way. OB penalty, stroke and distance, or bunker. I'd be okay either way.
I think the other reason they go for it is because they actually think it's not really that hard of a shot either. That's what. But
then it's not a round ruiner because the hole's bad. It's because they think that.
No, but what I'm saying is the reason they go for it is because they would actually say, this is a shot I should be able to hit every time. Right?
Wow, I haven't gotten worked up in a week.
Yeah, vacation will do that. Ben, what were you saying? We're going to move on here. And by the way, go ahead.
It's just the opportunity of the birdie. It's like there. It's literally right there. It's just
Ben. Ben, you play Maple Hill League sometimes. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Oh, you're traveling. Never mind. But the layout that they play is a mixture of all the holes at Maple Hill. So it's hard to explain it to everybody. But every hole they picked is that tempting, juicy birdie. Every single hole they picked for this league was like, if you don't get the birdie, it almost feels like bogey. And if I was to say, well, Ben, the 1 week you only shot like 1 or 2 down, I'm like, you could have just went for par on half the holes and shot way better, right? And it's like, yeah, but you don't go into a round where you know the birdies are that like gettable and saying I'm going to lay up, and that's why that hole plays tough because it baits
hole.
people into it, and they know they can.
It baits people.
Yeah, so,
but like Ida, like if you're up 12, you take a double bogey. You keep jump putting until you get to the
So what's interesting to me about all this is whether or not we even see hole 16 at the Beast ever again is actually a question. But I think it's interesting about players' decision making. It was a totally different hole design, but similar challenges down at why am I pulling a blank? What was the course in Texas? Sprinkle Valley. Yeah. Right, where we had players taking crazy high scores on, was it hole 16 also? It's 18. Just I'm more interested in the players' decision making on a hole, whether the hole's a good or bad design. Everybody's got to play with it. And people who decide to slice and dice and make the decisions, it's just interesting because we saw players, for better or probably for worse, lose their tournament mostly on one hole when it's like there were other options.
Yeah, we'd have a different world champion without 16.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not a hot take, but...
Yeah, I mean, even I don't know what Missy Gannon's final score would have been, but a race that won final round, she finished in like 8th place. Like, she would have been up there competing for it.
Let's see. Because what did she take? A 13?
Yeah, 14, I think.
It was a 14, which was what over par? That's 10 over par? So, yeah, she ended up placing +6. She would have been -4. That would have only got her to 6th place, but beating out Silva and Evelina. So she got as high as she could.
Yeah, which is crazy. All right, so last things on Worlds, and then I'm gonna segue with a comment about Kristen. We'll transition, but before that, I'm just generally saying the event itself appeared awesome. I only heard good things. Every player was like, Finland did it right. It's always interesting to me, players' comments. Like, read into it what you want, but they say it makes me feel like a true professional. So however they define that, I think they're experiencing that at another level, which is pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. Live on the ground spectators and live viewers. Did you see some of the numbers, like topping out like well over 1 million if you combine Finland's channel and PDGA?
Oh, dude, that is so good for disc golf. Like that is so good for disc golf.
I don't remember what year, so I'm just saying yes, at some point. But I remember when the Pro Tour or whatever for a Worlds that they were covering on Disc Golf Network in its early stages, and they were psyched to get like it was 20,000.
Yeah. We had 15,000 concurrent, you know, at
it
something.
was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was like news for us.
Yes.
And I don't know the concurrent number. That 1.3 million is not concurrent, but it doesn't matter. The point is that's like crazy. So that's awesome. Rumors, maybe it's not even rumors are, but that's like, as far as we know now, that's UC's last event. He kind of went out on top. So that's pretty epic. I'm not sure what we'll see from him in the sport of disc golf or not, but that's pretty awesome to throw down an event.
He'll
like
be a
that.
supporter of big events, but I don't see him as being the man.
Yeah.
Josh,
so
we
that's
can't move
awesome.
on. We can't move on.
Okay.
I brought a take. I brought a take, Ben, and I remember everyone was like, poo, 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 poo.
Isaac?
Yeah. I have to
All
bring
right.
it up, not because I'm proud that Isaac didn't place top 10, but anybody that I mentioned it to was like, dude, you are the underside of that. Like, you're not getting it right. And I couldn't tell if it's because people are such big fans of him that they just were rooting for it. Like, oh yeah, he's great at majors. There's no way he's at least podium. There's no way. Like, you're saying outside of top 10, and I'm looking at the numbers, and I know you could say, well, it's a major. Matt, he usually plays better at majors, but the way he said he was feeling, plus his stats this year, 50% of his rounds are outside of the top 10. I said, with his feelings and this, it just didn't feel right. 12th place, you can say that's pretty close, but it's not a bad performance. But my take was right. I'm not always right. So sometimes I have to capitalize on it when it happens. Like, Ben, it was like, do you think this was
hard to do?
He played poorly? I don't know. He might say he played poorly.
No,
He said it was a struggle.
12th place is great.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's so funny when you get to like that level of Ganon and Isaac, where it's like, oh, I just was like, Ganon will complain. He's like, yeah, I was off last Worlds or whatever. And he finished like 13th. Like he did that like chess.com or whatever it's called. By the way, I love how we still call it chess.com. Like chess.com just should have just stuck with the presenting, because everyone calls it chess. It was like the best advertising ever because people still call it. But Supreme Flight Open, yeah, he finished like 13th and he was like super mad. I want to feel what that level of golf is like, where you're mad at your 5th place.
2 times in the half a dozen times in the last few days, it's crossed my mind, Ben, that anybody who's on tour, I will even say, like, I'll go out and say the top 70 plus, or I could go and say anybody on tour. They are so good at disc golf. I'm not comparing to Ganon. I'm not comparing to Ricky, Kyle, any of these people. But literally, Ben, if you go up next to anybody on tour right now, you're going to be like, dang, you throw really good. Like, it's incredible how good these players are, but it's just so separating when you start getting up into that top 20 now, and then really separating the top 10.
And then you look at somebody like Ganon and the way he won. He didn't throw the hot round in any of the 5 rounds. And if we account for ratings, I don't have it in front of me, but it was something like, high 1060s, 1060. Like, it was just so consistent, and that's incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be like just that good over and over and over and over again. And to your point, like Ben and Matt, like when he has a bad tournament, he's finishing in like 5th place, and it's a bad one. And it's just so Ganon, clearly world number 1. World champ, all of those accolades together. He's incredible.
And another thing that stood out to me is this event, winning Worlds, puts him right back with last year's finish of 4th place average at all events, across all events last year. 4th place. And guess what? Yeah. This win just did it again for him this year, which means if somehow, some way, he can either get a win. If he gets a win, he has a little leeway, right, to go 6th, 7th place in an event. But let's just say he averages out and finishes a 4th place season in a row. 2 seasons averaging 4th place. I had this moment today where I was like, this is the streak where we refer to Paul McBeth's 2015 season and then on. We refer to that and we go, holy cow, that dude, that was insane, that streak of Paul McBeth. This I think is the start of that. And so right now you're looking at a guy and you're going, he's good. There's no GOAT talk, all this stuff. But you're going, but watch the story, because when it happens, you're going to look back and refer to this and say, I remember when that season took place, his first Worlds. And then so on. It's
just the way it's going down.
I just remember this in this moment. I have an audio bite somewhere, and I don't remember if it was Nick and Matt or wherever, but we interviewed Ganon, and I said something like, I'm picking that kid to win multiple world titles. And we were all asking, is that an overreaction? I don't think it is. I think he's just proving it. Came into it special, and he's doing special things.
He's young. He has a long career ahead of him.
I know.
Incredible. All right. Yeah. Like you said, we're a couple weeks post Worlds.
World
Games. Plenty of other, there's plenty of other storylines down the leaderboard, but we're going to move on. And I want to actually segue a little bit to World Games, but as a segue to that, I want to touch base briefly on, so Kristen DNFs Worlds. That's a seismic story in disc golf. It's a big thing.
And she DNFs off of mostly mental health, I believe. Right?
Right. I mean, we're taking what we've heard in an interview. We're taking what we've kind of seen.
What she posted.
And for weeks building, you can kind of read between the lines, right? Maybe even
we talked about it for weeks. We didn't know this would happen, but we talked about it for weeks.
And then her post and whatnot. And the reason I'm segueing here, she did play at the World Games, and I want to talk about those results. And so she did continue to go play and represent her country there, playing with her husband on Team Estonia. And World Games looked great. So we're going to come back to that in a moment. But just like any, Ben, I listened, and you and Nick just briefly touched on it. You read Kristen's Instagram post. Mm-hmm. It kind of feels, it's funny where sports, are we commentators? I think so. We commentate on the sport, right? We have opinions.
We analyze, analyst, we
editorialize,
debate.
Whatever it may be, right? And so sometimes it feels a little bit funny to talk about players because we know behind that, they're actually humans, but we're commenting on a sport. This is kind of one of those lines. And the way I expressed this is purely from a sports commentator, where I'm looking for performance and I'm looking for epic stories and people to dominate and people to fail, and kind of the rise and the fall of what happens in sports. Man, it's just disappointing to see that the top person in the game, right, for years running, to DNF is just it's frustrating for the sport, right? It's that's what we want to see. Right? We want to see somebody go out and perform and dominate. And even if they don't dominate, you want to see them grind, right? And finish strong. To DNF in the third round is disappointing. On the flip side, just to finish this comment though, is as a human, aside from the sport, right? If I literally could flip hats, I would want Kristen to do whatever it takes. The way she posted about it, she's this is the first time I've actually, I forget her words, but done the right thing for myself in years. We see all these horrible stories of people who struggle with mental health but don't really address it, right? Or kind of struggle secretly. So it's I'm happy that she made that decision for herself. You want the best. We have no idea what's going on. Humans are complex. It may be a pressure of the sport. It may be something having nothing to do with the sport, right? Life is hard being a human.
How many times have you had something go on in your life that nobody else really knows about, you go into work and you're dealing with stuff that so the point is there could be epic things, and I'm not projecting TMZ here, but there could be epic things too, that are just weighing also. So it's there's so much.
I think hypothetically, let's say there's nothing else going on in your life. But hypothetically, the one fact of the matter that she won basically every event last year, and now is not a guarantee to win. I think that would weigh a lot on everyone being the best player by far in the world. GOAT talk already to all of a sudden, not really winning as much, or not really winning at all.
And the biggest, this is why I say it's seismic, and I don't want to. It's a very tricky balance because I don't want to grind in on Kristen because she has to do the right thing for herself. So I'll emphasize that. But it's this is the world championship. In the FPO field, it is the biggest story. That after three
it's
rounds,
also crazy.
three rounds in a 5-round tournament, she doesn't finish.
Because we see what happened. What happened if
that's
Missy
what I'm
comes
saying.
back from 14 and goes in 8th place, what happens to Kristen? Like, yeah, she didn't.
That's what I'm
start
saying.
great,
So from a
but
sports standpoint, it's frustrating.
I
From a
get
human
it, yeah.
from a human standpoint, I'm not going to say she made a wrong decision because like you
Total
literally have to
empathy.
do the right thing. By the way, again, we know nothing about the details for Kristen, so a lot of this you have to discount it to some extent.
It's just
But
speculation.
literally, mental health. I'm speaking in general, not just to Kristen, right? It can be a life or death thing, right? So like you don't take it lightly, right? Like you have to take care of yourself. Anxiety, pressures, like we said, Matt, maybe it's not even disc golf, like life, or maybe it is the pressures of disc golf. It's all of the above. Physical injuries, physical things mess with mental things. And this is why it's interesting that she went, to the World Games and played, and we'll have to see where she plays from here on out. But just didn't want to breeze over that because it's to me it was one of the bigger stories out of Worlds.
So follow-up question to that. And this, again, we got to teeter lightly. So you have to understand, guys, we're coming to this with good motives, okay? We're not trying to spin anything. But I am curious because, and this is going to be just hypothetical, but I am curious if she had come out and she shot the hot round, first round, and she had a 6-stroke lead or whatever it was. Does her mental game shift? Does this anxiety feel?
I think so.
Like it kind of goes away. So like, is it a performance
so.
anxiety then is what she's talking about? Or is this something,
I think
if it's a performance anxiety?
Exacerbated it.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. If it's a performance anxiety, I will bring up the conversation. I don't think it's a take. The conversation is, does she get out of this? The positive side, the person on the whatever shoulder is the positive shoulder, says, of course, we hope the best. We wish the best. People do that. Like nobody wants doom and gloom. The other side goes, and again, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but we've seen this happen in disc golf before with other players. Like I don't want to do name dropping. Everyone can think of these players right now who were shining stars for years, and now they're not really in the conversation at all.
Well, I can name drop one because I think this is like a valid point, kind of where you're going with Heather Young. I mean, she was up and coming star, and then I think she just kind of like fell out of love with disc golf, and we never saw her again. So I think that
can happen. Yep, that can happen for sure. But then you can have life change, mental shift change in players. For sure. Okay, I'll say one. Paige Pierce. You go back a few years ago. I'm talking before the ankle injury. We've talked to Paige since. She says why her performance seems off. She has a little bit of fear, remembering, how bad throws can go. And she's working through that. But I'm talking about there was a period of time where she has a pretty public life. She traveled. Remember, she was in Hawaii for a while. A lot of things going on with her. She made some of it public, some of it not. My point is mental things are hard to get out of. And I'm going to teeter a little bit more into unknown land here with like Eagle McMahon. Literally today, I had this moment where I said, Eagle, for a while, was the guy to win. You're like, incredible rounds, incredible performances on every feature card. Everybody wanted him. Autographs, Eagle McMahon. He's the winner. He's going to win, or he can win every single event. We don't even talk about him anymore. And I remember when it was literally like, that's all we talked about. So all I'm trying to say is like,
I got into the sport when Eagle was literally the dude.
See, but do we talk about him? We don't right now. He has a legacy because of what he's done. Maybe we'll talk about him because of that, but not because we're picking him or think. So I guess the reason I'm bringing that up, just to wrap it up, is not because I'm doom and gloom, but because we do talk about disc golf. Is this something that could happen? Absolutely. That's all I'm going to say. It is something that could happen.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't. Just like I've hoped it doesn't for all these players, but it's so hard to get out of. So I recommend, not for her, because I can't recommend to her. If I was in that situation, I would probably seek out the best sports, therapist, the best minds that can help me with that, whether it's managers, things of that nature. Because here's one other thought, and I'm just going to keep going, and I'll stop here in a second because I've thought about this a lot. Did she get into disc golf because she loves disc golf, or because she's an athlete competitor who wanted this to be her career? And the difference to me is, if you find disc golf and you love it and you realize, hey, I'm pretty good at this, and then you realize you have an opportunity to play it and compete, and then you're like, I can make a living off of this. To me, that's very different And I'll go to like LeBron James or other people who are like, from little kid, I'm striving to be a professional career athlete. It's a totally different mindset for someone that I know of Kristen, just because of what we've interviewed her. We've heard her in the last year talking about like tired. I'm like to be home. I've been traveling too much. This might not have been the life that she actually wants. Like, that's very possible. And she's discovering it through the avenue of disc golf. It became something like I did photography for years as a hobby. And then I turned it into a business because I realized there's so much money, especially in weddings. And guess what it did after Ben's like, I just paid photography. But like, guess what it did? It literally started taking away my love for photography. The one thing I've had fun doing, like just for art. So it's like I had to remove the business side of it, and I did, and I enjoy it again. So I'm just saying there's more to this story than just well wishes, which we do have well wishes, but for the sports side, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. We're just going to have to watch. I do give well wishes. Let's hope for this year for it to come back, or she decides to take it off, and next year it's a totally different thing. Yeah. But we're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah. Probably the right decision for her. I just wish it could happen after the 5th round of the World Championships, not after the 3rd round. That's just like,
as a fan.
There's a lot going on
without knowing. It's tough.
With that being said, so she did travel to World Games. So World Games is, I think at this point, many people know because it's been making, its rounds in the disc golf world, but it's like a secondary Olympics. That's really not the right way to say it, but it's like a lot of sports that are not in the full Olympics play in the World Games. With that being said, like the overall event of World Games is run top notch. Like you look at it, it's like, it probably just feels like one click below the Olympics. It's a very big deal. Countries from around the world travel. In this particular case in China, and lots of competitors from around the world in lots of different sports. It looks pretty cool. Great coverage, live streaming. And we saw disc golf. We also see ultimate frisbee and a bunch of other, non-related disc sports at World Games. Not putting you on the spot because really we didn't talk about this much, but did any of you get to take in any of the coverage of the event before I just go through the results? We probably won't break it down at length, but any of you taken any of the media?
Actual broadcast television?
Yeah, just anything.
I jumped into one video, and I think it was after the event, so it was kind of like a little replay, and I thought, oh, that's interesting.
They're 12 hours ahead, so it's hard.
Seeing camera angles, I knew immediately like this was not a disc golf production, meaning like they would zoom in like they've done for other big events when you bring camera crews in. Eagles Crossing, for instance. It's set your cameras on tripods, on elevated platforms, and zoom into all the action for the most part. They did have a roving camera. I didn't get to see a lot of it, but what I did see, I was like, I didn't hear commentary when I was all that stuff. So it was unique, but I'm glad they were able to put something together for sure. I
went back and caught some of it, and I think, Matt, if you're able to take in more of it, it was probably better than just the clips you saw. I thought it was done fairly well. It's not what we're used to, which is always weird because when things are different, sometimes it takes a little bit to process and say, like, is that better, worse, or just different? There's probably things that they would improve on, but they also had way more cameras than DGN has.
Yeah.
So they were able to take in a lot more there. And just the course was really interesting. I think it was more challenging than the players thought it would be when they were flying into China, but it's like in the city. But it's like this like nature like area in the city. And so it's like really dynamic. And again, it looked like kind of an Olympic sport because the way everything's set up, the signs, the volunteers everywhere. So I actually thought it was pretty sweet. I don't know exactly. There were 6. So here's the format. I don't know if all teams played 6 rounds, but something like 6 rounds. They're mixed teams, right? So you've got a male and female player, and they play alternating shot doubles match play. All right. So mix all that together and that's what you get. I think it's a pretty exciting, format. It's fun to watch these players play. I didn't take in every single round. We're not going to go through every score. The final round looked like it was sopping wet. When I say rain, the amount of rain that's like, it didn't look like it was a course problem. It looked like it was a rain problem. What I mean is there was like giant puddles building up around the tee boxes. I just think it was that much rain. And I think it was scalding hot in the days preceding that. So not necessarily prime weather conditions, but everything I've heard from those who have been interviewed are like, this was an incredible experience. And you have to say, where in our sport, we do this for Pro Worlds a little bit. USDGC covers it a little bit, but this is really a case where you're representing your country and it feels like the Olympics. And so I think the players really probably enjoyed that experience. I think the favorites going in, and with that format, I don't think it was a lock, but the favorites going in were clearly the Ganons, which is Ganon Buhr and Missy Ganon. By the way, did you see any of the graphics? Like, so Missy Ganon must have some, like, what was her actual name? Like in the world?
Marissa.
Yeah, it was like, Marissa with some middle name, Ganon. And was Ganon's middle name Frederick or something?
Yes.
Does that sound right to you, Ben?
Yeah, his middle name's Fred.
Nice. We can start calling them that. Maybe not. But so they take home the gold, and it's literally fun to even say that, right? It's a gold medal. They actually have a real gold medal. That's pretty sweet. Hang that on the wall. With all of our talk about trophies in disc golf, a legit gold medal. And then we have Salonen and Tukinen take home the silver for Finland. And then Balodis and Peksena take home bronze, Team Latvia. And I think they had to beat Estonia.
Yeah, Latvia over Lots.
Yep, exactly. And so that was the segue earlier as Kristen did play. She played with her husband. So we have Kristen in silver, which, by the way, that's pretty cool in a sport to have a married couple both be good enough to represent their country in the World Games. I think that's a pretty neat story in its own right. It's easy for us just to look over it because we're used to Silver and Kristen. But like, I don't know how many sports in the world where that happens. I'm sure it's happened, right, in other niche sports, right? There's probably times where that happens, but that's a pretty cool story. But anyway, so that's how it went down. You can still go back and see the coverage if you're really curious. Obviously, again, it's not what we're used to. Brian Earhart was on the mic with another professional commentator that they brought in who's not disc golf oriented, but I think seemed to do a lot of his own research. Obviously having Brian there was a nice touch, right? Kind of make sure you get some familiarity and kind of bridge that gap. But congrats to, Missy and Ganon. That's awesome. Taking home the gold for Team USA World Games. I don't know when it happens again. I don't know if it's every 4 years like the Olympics or not. And I also don't know what the next steps are to determine if it stays in the World Games or if it starts its steps towards being an Olympic sport. The last time disc golf was in the World Games was 2002, I think. So it has been there before. And I think it was Juliana Korver and now I'm pulling the blank on the MPO player. Barry Schultz, maybe. So kind of cool.
So it happens every 4 years, typically the year after the Summer Olympics. So it kind of follows that, just the summer after. Yep.
Anyway, it looked cool. I think for the players getting experience in China, you know how lots of times there's discussion about, especially in the USA, maybe a little bit in Europe, but like where are our venues and courses? And sometimes they're in hard to reach places. And it's always like, wouldn't it be great if it could be like in a city or like an urban sprawl? And obviously China is different when it comes to, country size and population, but they were playing like in the city with like 21 million people. It's obviously a different dynamic because World Games are bringing people in, but I just think that it'll be interesting to hear more. We obviously aren't interviewing them here because they're probably traveling and jet lag, but I'd love to hear from Missy and Ganon and maybe Avelina and the other players we know about their experience. I think it's probably pretty cool.
I think it was pretty cool.
That's it on World Games. So talk about event rundown. I mean, we obviously went back to talk about Worlds, talk about World Games, but then we also had Turku Open. So
Turku.
All right, so I'm jumping to the punchline, and then we'll just come back and hit on anything you want. So for me, this event matters. It's worth following. To the players who win it, it's a hearty congratulations. It's a big deal, but it kind of gets lost because I was on vacation, which is selfish to me, and because World Games and lingering Pro Worlds, and the fact that the field gets a little bit dispersed from people traveling back to the U.S., Ganon not being there, etc.
Can I get the chat? Can I get the chat to rate on a scale of 1 to 10 how epic you felt this event was? Because I know where you're going with this. I would say not a high number. I'd say a 5.
Yeah,
I don't know.
With that being said, Ezra Robinson gets the win by 1 stroke. It was a close, good event. Did you see his hay bale hop on hole 18?
Yeah,
I did. Yeah,
that's why he won. No.
Yeah, well, no, obviously you have to earn that spot to be there, but that's crazy. And then Silva wins in a playoff against Kaidi Alsalu, another name that I picked to pop off in Worlds who didn't, but in a one-hole playoff. So congrats to Ezra. Is that his second win this year?
Yes,
I don't have
and
the
all
stats in front
time.
of me.
Yeah, second of this
All-time
year,
elite.
which actually not surprising, but he's
two
got
wins in a year.
Yeah.
2 wins. Anybody who's getting more than one, like, you're doing something. So that's big for Ezra because he came out
Only
and won the
4
first
players
event
this year have done that.
Yeah. Okay. I think he came out and won the first event of the year, doing this from memory. Am I right?
Yep.
Right after signing with Discraft, kind of a big off season, and then has had a fine season, but kind of quiet. So to get this win is probably a pretty big deal for him, and hopefully he can carry that momentum back into the States, US here. And then Silva, obviously we know, top performance, so getting another win under her belt.
Fun fact, Ezra won that first event, then he won Turku Open, and he's had no podium finishes. He's only had wins.
That's what I'm saying. It's felt quiet.
I do feel like it's just, we always have to give these prefaces because people like to rip on us. If I'm like, hey, this field wasn't stacked, and I say that, and they're like, oh, you're trying to take something away from them. The reality is this was a good event to go to continue after Worlds and be like, I have a better chance here than I do somewhere else, for sure. I think that's true. He did it. Good job for him. There's only 4 people, like I said, with 2 wins or more. In fact, he's outperforming Anthony Barella, Isaac Robinson, Calvin Heimberg, Ricky Wysocki, Kyle Klein, Simon, everybody. The only people that are playing better than him, as far as wins go or podiums, Adam Hammes, Niklas, and Ganon. That's it.
Yeah.
That's incredible for him.
Yeah, and Ezra really has had kind of a tough middle stretch, but he also finished 14th at both of the majors, which is actually still pretty good given our discussion earlier. So, yeah, we'll see. I think maybe, Ezra just get a little win and see if it can kind of grease the skids and move him forward. So, good for him. Silva winning over Kaidi, so that's good for Silva. What number win is that for her this year?
That's 4, and she has 3 second place finishes. 4 first place, which is now more than Kristen, and Evelina, and Missy, and Ella, and Owen, and Paige, and Haley. So if the reality is Holland is the only one that I think you could argue is having a better season. Now, granted, Owen just got a world championship that bumps her up further with just 1 win, but with 4 wins, I think you're in the conversation. So Holland right now has 4 wins, 3 second place, 1 third. Silva has 4 wins, 3 second places, no thirds. So percentage wise, I don't know. It looks like to me Holland might get the nod, but we're gonna have to talk about the events as we get closer.
Yeah, and it's always weird because the recency is a factor. Maybe it shouldn't be, but like Holland with an incredible start, and then we haven't heard much from her.
Mm-hmm.
There's not been a ton of events, but we had 2 majors. Where does she finish in both those majors?
Well, she was my lock, and it wasn't that great. Yeah. Top 10.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's interesting. And obviously, you can have a few off events and come back and finish strong, and you'll be great. But yeah.
Fun fact before we go into pop drop lock, I picked Ezra Robinson to drop at Turku. Oh, wow. I haven't been wrong a lot this season.
I have a funny pop lock drops story when we get into it.
You can give it.
All right now?
Yeah.
So I remembered like a week before that we had to do the Turku Open.
You're getting ahead of things now, right? You don't want to be late. So
yes.
You go, all right.
But last time I was ahead of it, the average was wrong. But I did, but I didn't have time to do it. But I was like, okay, I just need to pick something
at least pick as a backup, right?
I closed my eyes. Yes, I closed my eyes. MPO pop, hit it. MPO drop, closed my eyes, hit it. And then I did it for everything. I think I changed the win. It looks like I'm frozen, but I think I changed Calvin to win, and that's it. And I got decent points just from literally being lucky, and because I forgot to change it. I would have changed it, but I know, all because I randomly literally just scrolled up and down and then clicked and then just went to the next one.
The big win for you. The big win was Elva Kate Preston.
Yes, that was a random close my eyes.
It was a good one.
Goodness.
So
but
it really wasn't, because she's like 899 rated. So like I just got lucky.
I lost points in MPO. I forgot to do points updates, by the way, guys. So we're not going to put them up on screen. So I'll just kind of go through it before I pull up our picks.
All right.
Yeah, I lost points for MPO. I actually picked Isaac to lock. His brother won. I did do good for FPO. Jennifer Smiley popped for me, and that was a pick. 36 points. Silva lock. She won. And I picked Katie Tate to drop, and she only moved 2 points. So that was my win, but it wasn't good enough. I'm still sitting in second place season long. But whoever this is, actually it'd be fun if you reached out to us. Courageous Hair 6437. This is the bat signal. Reach out to us somehow. Let us know who you are. We can have fun back and forth with you. I'm in second season long. Out of 1,242 players, there's someone else, Courageous Hair 6437, beating me by, what's the number there? 68? 68, I think. It's not out of reach, but remember, if that's you, we're going to end up hitting you up last minute, being like, can you come out to Maple Hill and get a round in with Simon? I think it has to happen in November before Thanksgiving. Start trying to make plans now. But don't buy the tickets. You don't know if it's going to work. Actually, buy the tickets. I'll go out for a round with you regardless. If you buy the tickets, we'll get the show out there somehow. But don't plan on Simon until the last event drops. Other points here. We'll go to the top. Evan, shout out to you. We still see you there. He won with his picks. Huge pick. Sintija Klesberga. FPO drop. Almost 70 points. And then Ben, we already said yours. Good pick with Elva. 60 points. And then Josh at the bottom. Actually, Nick didn't even submit. So
if I didn't do my random thing, I wouldn't have submitted either. I completely forgot.
So Josh, you got -2 points. But
Josh,
you could have just not submitted and made more points than that.
No, I mean in FPO I got 31 positive, but MPO didn't perform.
You did about the same, negative.
Yeah.
So that goes up and down. But let's do a little pop drop lock to see our picks here, and then we'll move in soon here to an interview. This is getting extremely tough. I literally flopped with FPO and pop and drop 4 or 5 times with each pick I was doing because I had a reason why each one was not good or was good. Because I'd put them in and then I'd be like, no. And then I'd be like, no. I'd put someone else in. So I am not solid on this by any means. So be careful if you want to make the same picks as me. Be careful. I'm assuming Nick didn't get his picks in. Let's see. We were going with whatever last week's were. Oh, he might have. Because Casey White's not a horrible pick for Ledgestone. So Casey White pop. Eagle McMahon drop. Look, that name just came up. Anthony Barella lock. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, Ben, you're laughing. Pop for FPO. Alexis Kerman drop. Paige Pierce. And then lock Caden Spurge. I'm guessing this was for Ledgestone if he actually got it in. If he didn't, it's working out. I think it's fair. We'll go to my picks. Wait. Oh, hold on. That's not right. You get them right in 1 second. They're submitted, but they didn't update on my computer. Watch. They're all going to update here. I think they did. Okay. Zach Arlinghouse to pop. Lefty player that I think plays well in the woods. Anthony Barella to drop. This is why I laughed a little bit, because he said lock, and I'm just disagreeing. I think this is an opportunity to get a lot of points with Anthony Barella. Could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I don't lose a lot of points, though. Calvin Heimberg to lock. Yeah, I think it's a good pick. And I can't pick Ganon anymore. Ooh, and then, I'm out of Ganon picks. How many Ganon picks do you have left, Ben? 0 as well.
I've had 0 for like the past 5 minutes.
All right. My FPO. This is where I teetered so much with pop and drop. I'm telling you, 4 or 5 different picks for each slot. So I landed on Holly Finley for pop. It's a roll of the dice. It can happen. I just don't know. It could go either way. Drop. Emily Weatherman. Lock Missy Gannon. I don't know what you guys are laughing about. I'm just letting them laugh, guys. If anyone's listening to the audio, you're going to have to come back and watch this.
It's not even that funny, but now I have the laughs and the crying.
Did I say somebody's name wrong?
Nope, you're fine.
No, you're good.
I feel like I'm left out. Is it about me?
Maybe.
All right, we'll talk later. Josh just guessing really. I'm reading the chat because we derailed this whole segment. Is it in the chat?
No. It's I don't know.
You guys are
anyway.
So Emily Weatherman to drop.
Keep going. Yes.
Is a really tough pick here because she's not averaging like super well. But Missy Gannon to lock is, I think, pretty safe. Now I'm trying to figure it out. We got to figure out what just happened there because the chat's trying to chime in. It was a moment that passed. Ben has his robot host the show tonight.
Matt, to be honest, like obviously something made me laugh, but this is just the truth for anybody. Have you ever straight up just like gotten the laughs, right? And then like something made you laugh, and then like I'm sitting here and I'm watching our show because I'm on the show and Ben's laughing on the screen. Then I can't control it and you're asking, so it's just a cycle at this point. I'll try to pull it together.
I've laughed real hard in a church choir one day to the point where I almost passed out. So I get it.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, hopefully laughter is contagious. Everybody out there, it's kind of.
Oh, there have been times when Ben and I used to sit next to each other in the studio. It's hard. I get it. All right, Ben.
Good stuff.
All right. No, it was no one in the chat. It was separate. We texted each other. Oh, we did.
We locked the
I
same.
can't have that.
Calvin Heimberg is our lock. We doubled up on that.
Oh,
but
man,
everything else. Missy is our lock too. So that's a wash for us.
Yes.
I think it's a good pick.
We always have washes, but yeah, I need to pick makeup strokes in the pop drop. Pop Cal Lundquist, drop Joel Freeman, pop Alexis Kerman, drop Macy Villadiaz. And I don't know, there's no reason for it. Just pop. I think these players have low averages that could do well, and then drop. I think these players that have high averages that you never know what's going to happen.
Macy's a good
Joel
pick.
Freeman.
How did I overlook Macy? I'd have to go back and run those stats through for me to.
Well,
check
she's eighth. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I picked Joel and Macy because they're both not on tour and their average is super high. So maybe it's just rust. That's what I'm hoping for.
Macy has a 5th place, a 4th place, and a 15th place. Yeah. Way to watch the averages this time, Ben, because the other time you picked before they updated because she now has 3, or she had 3 events, I guess. Yeah, but either way. So good job. All right, Josh, your picks.
All right. And the way the season's been going, everybody, don't follow my picks, but one of these weeks I am going to hit. We'll see. All right, my pop is Cole Redallen.
One of these weeks, you're 700 points behind
Ben. I know Ben's strategy was just to blindly scroll and pick.
And it worked.
All right, here's Cole. Cole's won this event before. Doesn't mean he's going to now, but he's averaging 35th. I'm like, come on, like he can pop off. To drop is Ricky. I don't have great reasons, except I feel like he's been performing below, and I don't know, like, does anybody know still if there's any kind of Lyme flare up with the knee or anything like that? Have you heard anything?
No, I think he's good.
Okay. He definitely had some kind of like wrap on his knee in some picture online, but
we'll see. Maybe. Well, I think it's also a good pick just because actually I realized I locked Calvin too, but anyone coming over from Turku or China is gonna like be jet lagged and maybe
Yeah, a
have
lot of
one
travel.
practice round.
Yeah. So anyway, Ricky, for all I know, he'll go out and win, but I'm picking him to drop. And then to lock is Ganon Buhr. There you go. In an FPO,
I'm starting to get the laughs now.
Okay.
You guys are like, okay, why are you laughing?
No, there's nothing that funny anymore. Yeah.
Well, no,
Lisa
it's funny to me because now I'm getting
okay.
it because I was late to the show, but now I'm starting to laugh.
Lisa Fakis. I've picked Lisa to drop many times, and she always surprises me. So I say, this is the one she's going to pop off. Did she come in like second place? Like last year?
Last year she did really good somewhere.
I don't know. Averaging 22nd, not lots of room to give me tons of points, but let's hope for the best. And then to drop is Holland Hanley. We were just talking about that. And then to lock is the other Ganon, Missy Ganon. So I'm basically taking Team USA World Games for the win. I think Missy can certainly pull it off. So we'll see. That's it.
Yeah.
So this segment presented by Hooligan Discs. Hooligan has been shipping discs internationally all season because we have winners from Canada and Europe and all over the country. So everyone that's playing, keep playing. You have a chance, and we keep shipping out discs to everybody. So awesome. Thank you to Hooligan Discs. There's no reason not to throw Hooligan Discs. And every reason to.
And Gary from Hooligan Disc just went full time, so
really
in Hooligan Disc. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of exciting things.
Very cool.
This segment just went up in price. No, just kidding. The dude's been grinding. We've been happy to support, and he's supporting us. So it's mutual. Okay. Where are we at here with time? What is it? 8:13 local time. And we have somebody in the green room. We have a guest. Thumbs up or yeah, you can hear us kind of thing would be great. Yeah, perfect. So
I want to know if the room actually green.
There's a green signal strength that I can see, but other than that, and when he talks, green or claps or whatever, green bar bounces up and down, but not the room. Are you good to go if we pull you in now? Yeah, all right. Let's do it that way. Let's go ahead and bring in our guest of the... Yeah, it's been a little while. I got to hit this. It's called the cool something music is what it is. So pull it in. It's going to be... I had to hit a few, 5 buttons, but I think I just did it. Come on. There we go. Yeah, we should be good to go. Welcome to the show, Nate Heinold.
It has been a long time. Good to see you, Matt and Josh and Ben.
We've just been talking smack every show about Nate Heinold since then, so this is a big moment for us to bring you.
Hey, you're not the only one, so don't worry. So
well, what's great about this, Nate, and I hope this doesn't pour salt on any wounds, but usually I'm the most hated guy on the show. People just tear me up. There's Reddit. I know we have something in common. There's Reddit threads about me, and I just read it. And I'm like, ooh, that was a mistake to read the Reddit thread. But then you go on, and you're like, hey, this is a perfect Ask Me Anything, and I'm like, dude, don't do it. I'm looking away, and so. Anyways, all of that.
I did it because on Reddit on a scale of 0 to 100, I was a 3, and so it's can I really go down from there? And so probably I could. So
probably I could. So, anyways, we don't usually welcome our guests with how great you are on a Reddit scale, but I'm just saying thanks for coming on, man. I mean, it's epic for us to always have people that are in the know with what's going on with big events and in disc golf. There's going to be people that are going to say, you had Nate on, why didn't you ask him X, Y, Z, everything else? And I'll say, Nate's pretty open with how he answers. Now, whether they want to listen to you or not, we're not here to do that tonight. Ledgestone is pressing. It's upon us. It's happening very soon. Are you counting down the hours? You ready to go? Your team's all ready to go? Anything surprise you this week?
Yeah, I have such a good team. I bring, Michael Munn from Mississippi, and I bring people from Indiana and Florida. I have volunteers from California. So, I have more full-time employees now that help manage it, and we're really prepared for it. I mean, it's brutally humid right now, and so not prepared for that, but the weather looks at least not rainy, but we've been working on it for 11 months. And so we're excited that it's here.
How's the smoke situation?
We are smoke free here. So about 10 days ago, it was like a 170 on the AQI scale, which I think Peoria at one time was 10 days ago was the worst air quality in the world, but we're clear right now. So
I was there Junior Worlds with my kids during that first ever delay because of air quality. So I knew it was back out there, and I was just had to ask. So
we're very clear right now. So.
All right, cool. All right, Josh, take it away.
Yeah. Hey, Nate, also Matt was mentioning, or I forget what it was, but we had Steve Dodge on, was it 1 or 2 weeks ago, and he came with a full-blown PowerPoint presentation. I assume you don't have one prepared, right? We're not overlooking that.
No, right. I got nothing. So
all right, yeah, this is awesome. All right, so Ledgestone, last year we saw 2 7-stroke victories in MPO and FPO, which was pretty crazy. But I think we're only using Eureka, Temp, and Sunset Hills. So is Northwood Black back again this year, correct?
It is, yeah. It'll be the same layout from 2023. The layout from last year was a modified layout for the Champions Cup where the winner shot 15 under for 4 rounds. So the black course is back for 2 rounds for both divisions.
All right. So I think for the most part, I think the players will enjoy that. I think it's probably a little bit torturous, but I think it'll be a nice balance compared to bouncing back from last year. Are there any other big changes we should expect? I mean, this event has been on tour for so long. So very familiar in many ways. Is there anything that you would call out that we should expect that's different this year?
Northwood Black is the exact same as 2023. We did clean up the rough a little bit more. A few players told me it was soft. I would love to see the scores reflect that. And so we'll wait and see there. Eureka does have new teapads on 5 holes. And 3 of those holes are essentially identical. We just ripped all the asphalt and put concrete down. Hole 1 seems like the biggest talked about change online right now. It's 30 feet back into the left. A lot of people are saying the ceiling is super hard. I watched MA2 players get it over, and the ceiling is not a problem. It is longer. And hole 13 is about 20 feet longer as well. And then the water tower hole has a new permanent pad that's about 30 feet to the right. It plays about 20 feet longer. So Eureka will play a little bit harder. Sunset has a couple minimal changes.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, how long have you been running the event? Is this the 14th year? Was it 2000?
This is the 15th year, actually. 14 years sanctioned and 1 year unsanctioned. So this is the 15th event, actually.
All right. So that's pretty awesome, incredible, familiar, long running, obviously known for a giant event, all different divisions, right? We're focusing on the Pro Tour here, but a lot of history, a lot of fundraiser history. I've seen some stuff on the website about kind of some marks. I assume that's part of this year's event.
It is. Yeah. We, I've been very blessed in my insurance job that I'm not full-time there obviously anymore. And for a long time, I kind of just used the tournament to promote the insurance business. And now that I've stepped away from insurance, we've been fortunate to be able to give back to St. Jude, to the Paul Macbeth Foundation, to Easter Seals. We've used a lot of our fundraiser discs from the event to give back. We've given back $750,000 since 2014, with almost all of that being the last 5 years. And so we'll continue to work with Easter Seals, St. Jude, and the Macbeth Foundation for this event as well. And we hope to raise 6 figures once again this year.
Great. Yeah. And another thing which is incredible, the total amount. I mean, obviously it's a lot of years running, but when you look at the impact that'll have, that's awesome. Another thing with Ledgestone is not only the event, but we always see all the different, I'm going to loosely speak, merchandise, whether it be bags or discs. I assume that's an important part of the overall model for this event, and obviously for people to collect this stuff. Is that still a big part of this year?
It is. The actual, one day I kind of joked on Reddit when I did my AMA that I'll put out one of my event budgets when I get time. The event actually is a lost leader. So in business terms, the event loses money, believe it or not. When you put in that much added cash and charitable giving, we have 6 figures of staff expenses. We put up $95,000 of added cash. We have all kinds of other expenses. The player packs, I don't get that stuff donated. We buy the player packs. We get good pricing, but we do all of that, and we use our discs that we sell to try to get us, to make the event profitable. And so, last year we had some cool discs, but this year honestly is our best lineup in years. And we have some amazing discs coming out at the event. We have one that's a Mega Glow disc that is, I'm not allowed to show it off, I guess, yet because they blurred it out in our Instagram video. But we have a new disc coming out at the event as well, a test flight. So we have a lot of great fire stuff coming out at the event. So if you're local to the Midwest, come out. It's a great time. We have 15 more vendors than we had last year at the Fly Mart. So for a couple of years, our Fly Marts had actually been declining in participation. And so I dramatically cut Fly Mart pricing. And we have 43 vendors this year, I think. And so pretty excited about that. So
you're going to start competing with Ben Kenny's, expos, getting all those vendors in there. Maybe not. But no, that's awesome. Obviously, if I were more local, I would travel out because I think it's probably incredible. Have disc golf market, I'm speaking in the general, just like the overall trend in the industry, like, are you feeling different pressures? Have you had to respond differently with the event? And I'm keying on the fact that you just said even Fly Mart, like you've had to drop prices to try to get more people in. Is the event struggling at all when it comes to any of that? You talked about already being a loss leader. Like, are you feeling that market pressure?
The event has only been profitable a couple times, mainly during peak COVID. I don't try to just make a profit off the event. I try to run a great event and then get people to want to buy our products wholesale and buy them retail and our pro shop, when we travel around to events. And so we try to make the money that way from the product. I love the event to be straight up profitable, but we do. This year's player pack, it cost us for every amateur player to come to the event with our cost per player pack and the payout we give them. We're about $65 above what the entry fee is when you count course fees and PDGA fees. So for every AM player that signs up, we spend $65 more than we take in on it. Now we try to get that back through tourism grants, everything else. So it's just a unique model where I'm trying to drive up the economic impact to the local area. So now we're seeing more local sponsors. And so I cut vending prices to get more vendors here, to get more excitement. Because a few years ago, my mindset was, hey, let's sell all the product. Let's not have as many vendors. Ledgestone can just sell. And now, I've realized that I was a bit wrong in that mindset and I need to let other vendors in the event. And so we still charge them. For both Fly Marts, it's $350, but that's not that much money for a 10x10 space for Fly Marts that are attended by a lot of people. So.
Yeah. Ben, you're going to give us your numbers. What does it cost to get a 10x10 booth? Or is that all over the board? Does that sound good to you? I'll ask it that way. He says $350, you said, for both days?
Or $375 for a 10x10. Sorry.
But for both days?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So you're saying vending during the event or just the Fly Mart
that's
at night?
just so to get at the Pro Tour course, we do have some restrictions from our sponsors. You can get there for maybe $600 to $800. Now, if you sell discs, we don't have the ability for the local vending shop, which we don't really have a big shop here, but we don't let people sell discs at the course that conflict with Discraft. And we do have Innova there this year because they're a big supporter of kind of Discraft and Innova. We're, kind of are allowed to, vend at those events because of sponsorship that they do at USDGC and Ledgestone, vice versa. So
yes,
but the Fly Mart, you can sell whatever you want. So
yeah, that's always my biggest struggle in for my expos, because if I have 50 of the same pro shops, you guys all sell the same stuff. So that's my biggest struggle is like, hey, I already have 3 really solid pro shops that have supported me for years. You can still come, you just got to bring unique stuff. So I 100% understand that.
Nate, so I feel like, just thinking historically, you've been there 15 years, a big conversation, especially in the early stages. This is just from my recollection. You can correct me if it's not right, but it's people loved the Ledgestone event. They generally loved the way it was run. It was professional, but they really loved the payouts. That was the thing. There was plenty of players who weren't really on the tour, but if they picked an event, they were coming there. And now you've seen this event grow over 15 years. Do you still feel like your event, it's obviously an elite series, it's 4 rounds. Do you consider this event still one of the top-notch events that's drawing players from really around the globe?
I'd say for the amateur players, a lot of them feel like it's their chance to compete in, I wouldn't say a world championship because we're not giving them a world title, but for the amateur players, I think it's for most of them, it's their most elite experience of the year. The winners of every amateur division this year get a Brixton card that we're going to make for them and give them 10 cards. They're going to get a winner's card.
Their name and picture on it.
Correct.
Oh,
yes.
That's pretty cool.
So on the amateur side, we've really tried to push the limit. We still make mistakes. I can't control the weather. There's still things. On the pro side, I'd love to say we have the best pro experience in the game, but I know that we don't. I know that the USDGC and MVP Open and the European Open and even Talon and other there are a few venues that they only have 150 pro players and that's it. Yeah. And we have 2,400 players, and so we do give a lot of attention to the pros. And we have Northwood Black. We've spent 1,500 hours on that course in the last 10 months. Eureka, we just put $10,000 in the new teapads for 5 holes. And so, no, I don't think we're the best pro event on the tour. I do think that we put a lot of money into it. We do our best to give the players a good experience. But a lot of the pros come here and they're happy they can go to the Fly Mart and vend and do well. And they're happy they can have a lot of fans. There are a lot of amateurs here. Ledgestone is a big event in terms of spectators for the pros to kind of showcase their skills. So,
yeah. Well, that's awesome. We're always looking forward to it. I think a big part of it is we talk about events with history is always exciting, and Ledgestone has that. We just went through and made some picks about who we think is going to win or play well or underperform, and there's a lot of history to look at, which kind of makes it fun. Yeah. I'm going to transition a little bit just to get your perspective on a few other topics, but like anything else from Ledgestone that we missed that we got to make sure we highlight?
No, we're just really excited for 15 years. It's been a lot. We've grown courses here, and if get out and watch on the Disc Golf Network. If you're local, we have so many cool drops that are happening. It's a lot of fun to watch the discs fly at Lake Eureka. Northwood Black is so incredible to watch in person. So watch online at the Disc Golf Network or come on out. We have tickets still available, and so we're super excited to be here again. So
yeah, have you seen ticket sales? Like I'm more curious in general. Obviously, I'm asking specific to Ledgestone, but back to my disc golf market, is that obviously compared to the boom COVID years, but are you feeling there's a drop off? We just saw it's a totally different event, so it's not fair to compare, but we just saw over 10,000 people show up at Worlds in Finland.
We're not going to have that, but our ticket sales are ahead of pace significantly for Ledgestone by about 10 to 15%. And I think that's significant because I know some events are down. Yep. So we're doing well. The main thing we've been hit with the last few years has been on the expense side. Inflation after COVID, we spent a ton of money on flights and car rentals and Airbnbs. That stuff is 30 to 40% more expensive than it was just 3 or 4 years ago. And so those are the expenses that I haven't really been able to mitigate because we pay our staff and they need cars, they need to fly here, they need Airbnbs, they need hotels. So that's been the toughest part on the market side is it's been a hard market for, those kind of travel expenses.
Yeah. That's interesting. So just curious, as a disc golf fan, and obviously you influence the sport, you're PDGA president of the board, just curious as you took in Pro Worlds 2 weekends ago, and it seems like maybe UC's kind of trying to go out on top. I'm not sure exactly what his future plans are, but as an event director of multiple events, you've done Worlds before, you've done other majors, you've got big events, just curious, do you take anything from UC's approach to running an event? I'm not actually prying for anything. I'm just generally curious as an event director, do you watch something like that and say, oh, that's interesting? Or do you agree or disagree with any of those approaches?
Oh, I don't think I'm the best event director in the sport at all. I have taken the best things from Steve Dodge and UC and Jonathan Poole, and I think that event was incredible. My wheels were turning as, I watched that and saying he's raised the bar. Jonathan Poole raised the bar. Mm-hmm. Steve Dodge raised the bar when it comes to the experiences. And I don't really have a lot of original ideas for the events. I just find what works from other people. And and use it. And then we fundraise and try to take it to the next level. So there are some things I've done that are unique, but I thought Worlds was amazing. I thought it was riveting. The Tampere course is one of the best courses in the world. I think the Beast is great for spectators, and I think the Beast is probably going away with that pool construction, but the Beast is iconic, and it'll be tough to top that, and we're going to do our best to do that, next year. So
awesome. Yeah, no, that's great. So transitioning again to another topic. So as president of the board, first of all, I forget, is it a 3-year term that you're on the board? Is that the way that works, Nate?
3-year term, and I have, I can run one more year with our term limits, but I'm done. I'm not going to run for re-election. I don't even think I said that anywhere, but
I was just going to say, is that like,
this is my last year on the board starting in September. So,
right. So yeah. So the next term starts September. So through September, 2026.
Correct. Yeah.
How long have you been on the board? It's multiple terms, 2, 3 terms.
I've been elected 3. Yeah. So I've been on the board for 8 years. So.
All right. So yeah, you can have a big retirement party, or like, I guess you got a year to figure that out.
I mean, look, I feel like I've given a lot back to the PDGA, and I love the organization. The PDGA has such a strong team of employees. It is such a good group, and sometimes we get flack as an organization. Sometimes it's deserved, but we have a really good group of people who are trying to grow disc golf. And I'm super proud to be a member of the organization, to be a board member. And so I have 1 year left, and then someone else can take the reins. So,
yeah, so that's a long time to serve on the board. And like you said, we constantly have turnover on the board, right? We even just had 2 new people elected, which maybe we can briefly talk about. But just feel like I have to ask, for you changing, yes, you've given a lot and contributed, and you've got plenty of other avenues in disc golf. Is there anything about all the talk about this conflict of interest, which may or may not be a factor, right? But everything you're doing, driving events, revenue, merchandise, manufacturer relationships, and then being on the PDGA board, does that have anything to do with the decision to not run again for the board, or is that not a factor for you?
I certainly look at that kind of stuff. I read it. People tag me. My wife has gone on Reddit before. I've gone on Reddit before. I know. At the end of the day, and people may say, oh, he's being naive. My conscience is very clear. And I say that because it's not like that we don't have 6 other board members here. It's not like we don't have a staff. I've tried my best to shift decision-making for certain things away from the board. I mean, the board used to approve discs submitted by manufacturers. We took that away several years ago. The board used to actually vote on majors. We no longer do that. The staff does that. The board doesn't influence that. There was 1 year when 3 board members were part of a bid, including me, and we couldn't obviously be in those discussions. The board has given a lot of decision-making authority back to the staff. There is a conflict of interest. I have a conflict of interest statement, but other board members have the same statement. We've had board members sponsored by manufacturers before. We've had touring pros that were sponsored by manufacturers. At the end of the day, I feel good about what I've done for the organization. The staff, I think that are there, we're all aware of the issue. Other people have had issues, and I do my best to put the organization first, and that's the bottom line. Somebody recently said, hey, you should resign because there's a conflict of interest. Yeah, there is a conflict of interest. I have a statement, I put it out, and I recuse myself when it matters. And so at the end of the day, I feel like I've done my best, and my conscience feels good, but I understand the criticism, and I don't think it's wrong at all. I just think that we've done a good job managing it, but I do think I provided a lot of value to the PDGA. So,
yeah. So with 1 year left, is there anything in particular you're focused on from a PDGA board standpoint? Again, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Charlie Mead and Matthew Rothstein, I think, were elected in, so they'll be joining in September. So you'll have a year overlap with 2 new board members plus the ones that were already there. Anything in particular on your radar with like a year left as far as influence, right? Which I think is the primary thing the board does.
The board's had so much turnover. The problem is that I mean, we don't get people that are interested in running for the board. We have 100,000 plus members, and we only had 5 people even apply.
Right.
All of them got on the ballot. Like we just don't have people. And so for me,
yeah, and many of them were already on the board too, right?
Correct. Yeah. And so there's just, I mean, I understand the criticism of the board and the PDGA and, you know, this and that. And at the height of COVID and then us transitioning executive directors, there was a time when I was spending 20 hours a week on this, and it was nitty gritty stuff that I didn't want to do, to be honest. And so I'm glad that we have Doug now. That's probably the best thing I've ever done is, you know, get Doug hired for the PDGA. But my focus the next year is really just, I would love to find a way to get, you know, more people interested in joining the board, and continue investing in youth and education. I want us to, you know, I did a demonstration for my youngest son, Max, in his school last year. We did it a couple times, went through 500 kids in a day. Just seeing that potential there. We've started to give grants to schools and to people, if they, you know, that are working with schools. I want to go all in on that. I mean, we've invested so much in the pro level of the game. I think we've juiced that as much as we can. I think the PDGA isn't the Pro Tour. The Pro Tour is doing a great job of pushing the pro sport forward. The PDGA doesn't need to be that as well. And so I want to continue to focus on youth and education. Of course, we have so many other priorities, but the PDGA has done such a great job of making it easier for TDs to run events. I used to submit an Excel file for running an event, and now
same here.
I can just run it from my phone. I could run Ledgestone with 2,400 players from my phone. And so the PDGA doesn't give enough credit for being able to give TDs the power and the ability to run more events, and all of the platforms that they've built to make it easier for TDs to do their job is just amazing. And so continuing to make TDs' lives easier, because a lot of TDs that I hear from are struggling. They don't make money from events. And then if they do, they just get criticized for it. And I can't believe you made money. I can't believe you did this. And that's a weird stigma, because when I go to a marathon, which I don't run because I'm not an athlete, you know, I see people paying $50 and they get a t-shirt and that's it. You know, there's nothing else.
You're going to get Josh going. You're going to get Josh going. He's an ultra marathon runner. So you're going to get him going.
We pay even more money, and I get a t-shirt and a little wooden engraved trophy for finishing. And I pay $175.
Well, there you go. I feel like disc golf has great value. I feel like the PDGA provides great value. The disc golf network provides great value. But to your main point, I understand the criticism. It's not lost on me. I feel like I've done my best. Every board member is aware of it. Every staff member is aware of it. We're all aware of everybody's conflicts. And I feel like we've done a good job pushing the organization forward.
Great. Well, we'll look forward to what you, and again, it's not really on your shoulders. So I say that rhetorically, meaning you, the board members, obviously the staff who really, especially the executive leadership, but yeah, what the next year holds. And then you're going to leave a vacancy on the board. And like you said, get people excited. Maybe we can get someone else to step up for the next 9 years and volunteer to be the president and, contribute in that way.
Or even 3 years.
That is true. That is true.
We just need more people that are not in disc golf as well. How can we get people that are outside of the sport excited about stepping up to give back to the sport?
Yeah, no, that's certainly interesting. So I'm going to open it up to the other guys, but thanks for staying. I mean, you're working late tonight, and I assume you're going to be working, 18 hours a day for the next 8 or 9 days? I don't know what it looks like for you, but
yeah, it's the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of Ledgestone week are about 20-hour days, just because we have a lot of staff. That we have 110 staff here. We have 250 volunteers, 2,400 players, 3,000 spectators. So it's a lot to manage.
Yeah, well, that's crazy. Well, kudos to you. I've run a few big events, but they were 2% of what you're doing. So, all right. Yeah. Ben, Matt, anything else?
I have a question.
First time. Yeah.
Hello. That was a long transition. I actually, you kind of hinted at this, but I've always been curious what actually Ledgestone was and has become, because I've always heard Ledgestone Insurance, but I was it just an insurance company at first, and now is it just this now? I'm just curious to hear the journey and the history and what Ledgestone is now officially.
I mean, the journey was I got out of college and started working for Ledgestone, and there was just 2 employees, Ledgestone Insurance, and I needed to write insurance clients. I had 0 clients, and so I started the event to promote the insurance agency. And then for like the first 6 or 7 years, that's what it was. But it grew. In 2015, we exploded with $65,000 of added cash and a bunch of courses. And when that was, every other event was $10,000 added cash. And so it just grew and grew and grew and grew. And in 2016, I got married and kind of slowed down a little bit and then kind of ramped it up. And then when COVID hit, we went from 800 players to 1,300 to 1,800 to 2,400. And I mean, people just enjoyed the experience. And so now I have a lot of employees that work full-time in the disc golf business, and we run other events, and we just, it's been a transition from me being full-time in insurance to full-time in disc golf. But they're different businesses. Ledgestone Insurance, I don't own Ledgestone Insurance. I was just an employee at the time. I just kept the name Ledgestone Disc Golf, and so that's the name. But they're very different businesses, obviously. So
Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what I was curious. I didn't know if like Ledgestone is like stopped doing insurance and is now disc golf, but that's not the case. You worked for Ledgestone and you just kept the name because you marketed it so well and it was well known in disc golf. Got it.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Matt,
I saw social media post. Yeah, you're like, where are we going with this? Hole 1 got pushed back 30 feet, the teapad, and I saw Isaac Robinson say that looks impossible, and you said you got this 2 times, and I appreciated that back and forth. I feel like sometimes, and now here's my commentary, like I'll watch a pro come into town from Maple Hill and they'll critique the course changes. Well, we don't like it. A lot of people don't like change. Sometimes it is bad. Maybe it's fine, whatever. That aside, opinions on how people will feel about it aside, it does look more brutal, but being in person sometimes changes that. So like, just for people's perspective, hole 1, Eureka, temp, throwing over the water, Anheuser, however they want, flex shot, to the dam. You've taken the tee pad and moved it back approximately 30 feet. So now you're throwing through the tree gap. Maybe it's a lower ceiling. Do you think it looks harder than it actually is going to play? Like it's looking harder in the picture, or do you think, no, it probably is going to play harder?
No, it's, I can say this, that, somebody was tagging me and I don't respond a lot to that stuff, but I did it because in this case, they're dramatically wrong.
Yeah.
And when I made the tweak, and by the way, I made the tweak because the Pro Tour said, hey, we want you to have consistent teeing surfaces. The players don't want 13 holes of concrete and 5 holes of asphalt. So I standardized the teeing surfaces there, and we couldn't get a flat spot except for right there. And so we did cut some branches a month ago. That picture that was on Facebook, it does look like it's tight. The tree's just not in play. You would have to shake it. I watched several top pros. We hosted an event out there. I'm looking right now for the MPO players that played this event. It still averaged, 33% birdie still. And this was a bunch of local MPO players, 4.11. So it was still, this 7th easiest hole in the course. So it's just not gonna, the picture is misleading for sure.
Is it? And I'm trying to remember from previous years, is there a drop zone if you throw in the water? I don't remember.
Yeah, you go to a drop zone that's, about 500 feet from the basket. But yeah, you go to a drop zone.
So it's a toughish par to save from a drop zone. Okay. Yeah.
I would say it's pretty close to impossible with the angle. You would have to get frisky with the dam for sure.
Okay.
So.
Well, cool. I just saw it. I thought that was, interesting. And then when you responded and said, well, we had to put in different tee pads, it all makes sense. But yeah, wait till you see some of the changes at Maple Hill come up on DGN this year.
I like it. So
Steve Dodge is fighting for that critique, man. He wants more of it than you do, I think.
I don't want critique. Isaac's comment was funny. I think I would take a significant bet on over under how many MPO players lay up. It'll for 2 rounds, so that's 300 players. It'll be less than 3. That's no one's going to lay up. I watched MA2 players make it over with no problem. So
What's the layup option? You're not talking like just 30 feet forward.
Oh, I'm talking like a 70-foot sidearm zone around the tree. So.
Okay. Well, we'll watch. Probably won't be anyone on the feature card or lead card, but
No.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your time, Nate. Seriously,
Yes,
it has
thank
been a
you for
while. But there's no reason for that. It just is what it is, but thanks for coming on.
And we pull
Thanks,
them on
guy.
in the busiest week.
I know.
The busiest week of
Get
the
on
year.
the busiest
Thank
week.
you, Nate. Thank you.
All right, cool, man. We'll
Thanks.
talk to you later. Have a good one.
Have a good night. Thank
See
you.
ya.
Bye.
Nate Heinold.
That event's got a lot of history. I mean, I mentioned that it really has been like a mainstay. It was one of the very first events on the Pro Tour, the Disc Golf Pro Tour officially, right? So it's we'll
big.
see. It should be should be a good event.
I'm personally really excited to. I'm going to be there. This is my first lecture. I'm really excited to. I've always heard, they go big and the fly marts and the AM side. So I'm excited to get the full experience, see what that's like.
And it's funny, like a course which usually you want a course which has beautiful like natural aesthetics. But Ben, you're going to see like the water tower, and you're going to see the bridge hole, and you're going to see, it's just, there's so much history there. And then obviously Northwood Black will be a totally different dynamic, but,
and I'm caddying for Ganon, so I'm going to see everything.
See it all. Yeah.
So
I was lucky enough to caddy for my kids out there at Worlds. And when you drive into Eureka, it's, you're like, well, there's the water tower. It's iconic. It's really, there's the bridge hole, as you said, Josh. It's iconic. There's the baseball. It all makes sense, right, Ben? When you drive onto these new courses that you've seen on TV, it makes sense to the layout. You're like, oh, I can see how like, hole 7's next to hole 3. Yeah, like all that stuff.
What was my biggest one?
Where you were like, whoa.
I don't think, let me think. OTB, Cascade, and then Portland, the Preserve, and then what was the one after the Preserve? Des Moines. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. I
know what I'm saying.
I do get what you're saying. There's like time. I think the Preserve is probably like I have an image of what it's in my head, and then being on the course, it's just way different. Seeing how it's all laid out, see how actually open the fairways are. Yeah,
that's always weird when you show up at a course. Like when I showed up at Idlewild once, not on a Pro Tour weekend, but I'm like, oh. That's how hole 1 actually lays out, and 18 comes up over there. It's just like it's weird. When you
I was thinking about that yesterday. I'm like, I think Idlewild is going to be like at least hole 1. I want to see how actually far that hole is. That's like one of my things.
It's not that far actually. So, and I don't throw far, but here's the deal: when you go there, that course to you will feel like the best opportunity for you to play well on a Pro Tour course. It's like. You can do well on that course, Ben. Like it's all attainable.
Play it.
It's totally
That's
attainable.
One course I want to play.
Super fun course too. I loved it.
Northwood Black, I'm like kind of want to play, but I also don't want to be miserable for 4 hours. So
yeah, that's true. All right, so we've had a lot of talk, Matt. I don't know where you're going to bring us.
I had to bring up the Paul McBeth Foundation, or whatever you'd like to do next.
Nope. Go ahead with that one.
So the Paul McBeth Foundation reached out to let us know, and you've probably heard about this. It is on coverage during the Worlds and other events. It's called the Throw for More. It's a fundraiser where I'll try to make this simple. UDisc on September 20th. Any rounds logged with UDisc on September 20th are going to be worth 10 cents. If you played 5 rounds somehow, some way, that's 50 cents for your day. But that's times every single person. So if you brought 5 people with you and you played 4 rounds, I'm not doing the math now, whatever that is. It's like, what is that, $2? Long story short, times everybody. So if you fill a course, now you're getting hundreds times other courses times people. The point is UDisc is donating to this fundraiser. The other side of this is you've heard of things like, I think jogathons or phone-a-thons or whatever they are, right? Where you raise, or walkathons, you raise money for how much you do, right? Like, hey, I'm going to walk maybe 5 miles. How much do you want to pay me per mile for a fundraiser? They're doing this for disc golf. So not to confuse things, UDisc is paying per round 10 cents, but if you go sign up, you'll raise money per hole that you play. So Matt Graham here on the show, Stagger's Stance, is trying to raise money for 54 holes of disc golf in one day. Now, you might say that's not a lot. We'll see. Maybe I'll do more. But 54 holes, If you go into our description for the show right now, you can take a link right to the Staggered Stance Throw for More channel. Staggered Stance. So you can sign up to be a part of the Staggered Stance team. And collectively, listeners of our show, we can all raise money and see how much Staggered Stance team raises, or you could do it individually. There's a lot of ways to do this. You can sign up individually at throwformore.com and do it yourself. That's fine. Say how many holes you're playing, invite people to donate to your cause. That's perfect. If you would like, and I think it would be fun, if we got people to join in on the throwformore.com at Staggered Stance. The link is in our description. You can look us up at throwformore.com. You can type in Staggered Stance. Currently, Josh and I are on the team. Ben's trying to get in or did get in. I don't know if he did.
Ben's in, and he already raised $25 for the team.
What? I see that.
I've been in the chat. I've been in the chat.
Raising money in the chat. I see that.
I'm like, I have to beat Matt and Josh. We compete with everything. I'm already trying to get a leg up.
I'm gonna just paste in the
all for a good cause.
I'm pasting in the channel so you can see Josh, Matt, and Ben, and you can see that Ben has more. So that's fun.
Or you can just download to that link I just did. It's a better link, honestly.
Either way, there's links in the chat. There's links in the description. Again, you can sign up individually, but it's fun. If you sign up individually, join the Staggered Stance team. Raise money. Pick whatever you want. I'm going to play 9 holes. Like, what do you want to pay me for that? Whatever it is. That's fine. The end of this on September 20th, it gets donated. A thanks to you, obviously, and for fun, thanks for the show. They're trying to raise... Let me see. They're trying to raise $15,000 plus dollars. But fun fact, they're trying to get this to break the record for most logged rounds on UDisc ever in one day. The most logged rounds of UDisc in one day is 116,000 rounds in one day. I don't know what that translates to, how many people that is. I don't know, but that's in one day.
Do you know what was the reasoning, or is this just like COVID?
That might have been like the national, not disc golf, whatever it is, the disc golf day. I forget what that was called now.
Okay.
Where it's like, everybody go play disc golf kind of a thing.
Oh, Doc Zen with the $10 dono. I'm up, guys. 35. You got to catch. Yep.
Well, I'm going to have to reach out to my actual donor friends because the chat's going to let me down. But they're trying to get it to 120,000 rounds in one day. So regardless, like if you play on that day, September 20th, you're raising money just for the amount of rounds you play. If you'd like to get in on this, you can create an account. You can just raise your own money. Say how many holes you want to play. It walks you through it. It's super easy. Say how many holes you want to play, and then when people want to
join our team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Join our team for the most fun.
Yeah.
But the problem is if they join our team, we're all donating to each other. It's just going in circle.
All for a good cause.
We could make a rule where if you're in the team, you can't donate to anyone else on the team. I don't know. Maybe not.
No, we want to raise money. It's good.
Okay. Maybe if I shave my beard, I'll raise more money than Ben.
Ooh, that's
how much money would I make, Ben? How much money is that worth?
I think $300 is a good threshold.
It's the going rate for a fresh beard.
Yeah, I think
we'll see. Maybe I put it to auction. Maybe I put it to auction and highest bid goes to the charity.
But here's the thing, Matt. You have to shave your beard, but you have to recreate that Old Spice deodorant commercial with your beard.
That I did a long time ago.
Yep.
Doc says I'll donate another 5 if Matt shaves. No, not for 5. I don't know what the number is.
You don't donate to Ben.
Yeah,
he said to Ben. That's so funny,
baby. Yeah, literally, guys, it's wild. Someone says they'll donate 100 to Ben's link if I shave my beard.
It's so funny.
I'll just shave. Ben, we're gonna get Ben to raise a lot of money.
That's so funny.
So I just wanted to shout that out. One, because Paul Macbeth Foundation. There's a lot of charities out there, disc golf stuff, whether it's Edge or Uplay or Paul Macbeth Foundation or Wysocki Foundation. But it's incredible. If you look at what they've already done, if I click on projects, currently, 2025 currently, Kodiak, Alaska, Ukraine, and Poland for 2025. And if I keep scrolling back, there's like Mexico, Colombia, Guatemala, Illinois, Montenegro, Nicaragua, Uganda, Kenya, New Jersey, Spain, U.S. indigenous communities.
Dude, they did one
Michigan.
in New York City. So cool.
Olongama. I don't even know that place. Olangama, Batwa community. Oh yeah. Fight for the Forgotten. We interviewed him.
Probably, yeah.
Zambia, Uruguay, Mongolia, New York City, Bulgaria, Serbia. So my point is, we're trying to have fun with it. They reached out, said, can we help raise funds for this? And we're going to make it fun. My kids are going to get involved. We're going to have them sign up on the team. Anybody, doesn't have to be listeners. Anybody can sign up for this. Let's do it. But come September 20th, we're going to be like, oh, we should have did it. So you still have like a little over a month, but get into it now. Start raising now. Reach out to us if you need more information on it, if the links aren't working or something else. But that's that. Thank you, Paul Macbeth Foundation, for reaching out. We're happy to support. Oh, fandom survey.
Yep.
There's a little, I heard there's a little competition. Actually, it's not. I don't want it to be a competition. But there's a question we found out on the fandom survey that says a list of podcasts that are in disc golf. It says, have you listened to this podcast more than once or twice? If you listen to any of these more than once or twice, or I think it's twice. If you listen more than two times or more, like select them. Long story short, they're going to have a lot of data to say, ultimately, whoever took this survey, what's the most popular podcast? Probably.
It's not going to be us, but if you support us and like us, yeah, that'd be cool to, if you vote us.
Yeah, we're not looking, that's the right, Ben. We're not looking for like, hey, we're trying to win a contest. Like, we're going to post this everywhere. Vote for us. That's not what this is.
We're not trying to spam it. If we're actually your favorite or like second, then do it up.
Yeah, it doesn't matter in the sense of like how this results come out. We want our listeners to know that it's there. If you support us, you want to take the fandom survey, you can do that. The fandom survey can be found at what? I forget now. I have to pull up this.
Ultiworld.
It is at Ultiworld right now. Okay. I'd have to scroll back a little bit into my chat. But it's probably the easiest way to find it. I agree. Just confirming. Survey available at discgolfsurvey.com. Oh, there you go. I just want to make sure. Discgolfsurvey.com. Right. There you go.
Yes.
Great name.
Great name. That's that. So we're kind of throwing stuff in here at the end. Anything else, Josh? A couple minutes.
Just literally 30 seconds. PDGA rule proposals that was discussed on our show 2 months ago, whatever it was. They were all approved. They don't go into effect until next year. So I'm sure we'll chat about it as we head into to next year a bit. But just thought I'd kind of put an end cap on that because we talked about it on our show earlier. But other than that, we talked about quite a bit tonight. We covered 3 events, a bunch of other topics. Discovered that Nate Heinold's not running for the board of directors again.
Thumbnail. People who are listening in audio don't know, but the thumbnail is probably going to have a picture of him and say something like, I'm not running for re-election.
Yeah.
No, or we could do clickbait like, I hate the PDGA. I'm never running again.
It's going to have PDGA with a red circle and a line through it, like PDGA, and then it's going to say, I'm not running for re-election.
No, we would never do that.
The other one, I was writing down stuff as he was talking. The other one was, I don't think I'm the best. But I think I'm not running for re-election probably works better there.
Yeah. Breaking news.
He said 2 different things. I don't think we are the best. And then later in the interview, I don't think I'm the best. So it's like multiple, we're not the best. And you know what's horrible? What's
like
horrible
that,
here?
though.
Yes, but you know what's horrible here? Is there's a group of people who are like, he's saying what we all think. You are not the best. It's like,
no, what I'm saying is like, I like that. I think you need to be humble in the industry, not, or any industry where it's like, yeah, there's always room for improvement. I like that. I like that he's not like Ledgestone is the best. I like that he strives for UC, DGC and Maple Hill and all that. I think it's cool that
put you on the spot and Josh on the spot, because this is like an interesting thing, right? So you'll see Reddit stuff sometimes, you'll see Facebook stuff sometimes, you'll see wherever it comes from that Nate Heinold, quote, the most hated man in disc golf, is obviously the PDGA president and all that stuff. I'm going to be very honest with you. I do not have every inside scoop of how he's ever made a mistake in his life. I don't know that. But every interaction I've had with him, every interview I've had with him, and everything that I've seen publicly facing that I'm aware of, and that someone could message me like, well, you're not aware of this. That's fine. It's if I say it looks fine to me, people would say, snake oil, Matt, you've been fooled. There's a group that says that. But what I wanted to do is ask Ben, do you feel similarly to me? Or are we all just fooled? Because I just want to kind of say, like, are we on this show, are we all just fooled? Or is the large, like, voice that's been, banging their drum, are they right?
No, I have literally zero issue with Nate. Like,
I don't even know.
Yeah, what
drum they're banging. Like, it doesn't resonate with me.
Car salesman, snake oil.
Right.
He has the double standard. He's got the conflict of interest. He hates
conflict's a big thing.
He hates this group of people. He's a Christian who all these things. It's just like literal hate towards him. And some people will say there's justified reason. Like, I'm going to say I don't know everything, but from what I do know in my personal interaction, I can't get on that train. So there you go.
Yeah. I think since I know Nate personally, like, I think it comes down to the internet's gonna internet. When you're anonymous on Reddit and you don't know Nate and you think he's not a real human being and you can kind of just say whatever, then I think that's what it comes down to. But yeah, me personally, I have
all right,
no issues.
Well, we're lucky.
Doc said something fun. Doc said something funny. Maybe they just had their Ledgestone claim denied.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Well, we made it to the end of the show. We didn't ever once say, "Oh, no Nick tonight," but you found out by now. No Nick tonight.
Nick's a busy guy.
We'll see how this goes. Nick and Matt show is a thing of the past. I mean, staggered stance is the future, and I hate to say it, but we'll see where he goes. He is doing what he needs to be doing. He's working right now. So
we've had 79 episodes of Staggered Stance, if you're curious.
Wow, time flies.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I've been here for 73 of them.
Yeah, I know you're the league leader. I think
could be
for Staggered Stance, possibly. All right. Well, we made it to the end of the show. Thank you for everyone who tuned in live for hearing the recording. And if you made it to this point, it's probably not a good morning anymore. As in, like, not that we made it a bad morning, but if you made it to this point 2 hours in, it's not even like the first thing you're hearing is not good morning. Maybe it's good noon.
Good afternoon.
Good noon, good afternoon, good evening. But we appreciate it. Sign up for that foundation, Paul Macbeth Foundation. Do it. It'll be fun. We'll touch base on that again in a few more weeks. Ledgestone, get your picks in, pop, drop, lock. Thank you to TitanDiscGolf.com for presenting this episode and all of our episodes this year. Maybe one day we'll get back to the player interviews when they're all back from Europe, It's been a little bit of a dry spell.
It's been so hard to get players. It's been so hard, but we got Nate. That's been awesome.
All right. Thanks, TitanDiscGolf.com. Until next time, everybody, we'll see you out there. Peace out, everybody.